What's up, guys, gals, and my non-binary pals? How's it going? Right here, bringing you a brand new video. This week we're going to be talking about my trans guy idols. There's two real people and a fictional character who kind of helped me come to realize who I am. The two real people are Ty Turner, who I found through YouTube, Jamie Raines or Jamie Dodger, who I found through Tumblr, and Adam Torres from Degrassi. Jamie Dodger, or Jamie Raines, was the first trans guy that I was really exposed to on Tumblr. I started following him shortly after I, started getting kind of active on the website, and there was always something that I was super, jealous of him about, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. I always assumed it was just because he was living his truest self, and, at that particular time in my life, I felt like I was living to be for someone else as opposed to being myself. Granted, this was when I first started realizing that I was gender fluid, so, I was getting more comfortable in my own skin, but I wasn't quite where I needed to be. Whereas, Jamie was on testosterone for a long time, and, he had top surgery, and he was putting his entire story out there for people who needed to read these things or see these things. And for whatever reason, I latched onto it, and I was so interested in his journey from beginning to end that even when I had deleted my Tumblr for a year or two, I still kind of tried to follow his transition. And then I found out that he had a YouTube, and I'm subscribed to him, and I've watched all of his videos that he puts out, and he's just so well spoken about his transition, and he is just a really interesting person, and I love watching his videos. And then there's Ty Turner, who I found a couple of years ago before I realized that I was a trans guy, but this was when I was really in the thick of identifying as gender fluid. But Ty Turner, I found his YouTube, and he's been on testosterone for a long time now. I think like 5 years, but I'm not entirely sure. Don't hold me to that. But he was another one of those people that I felt like this odd kinship with, and who I wanted to follow his journey from beginning to now. So I watched all of his videos leading up to where he was when I found him, and then I've been watching all of his videos since then. He's somebody that I'm super interested in, watching the journey of. And he's now in a relationship with Steph Saniati, and they're adorable as fuck, and it's just awesome. Steph Saniati is a trans woman who is also a YouTuber. She's also a makeup person. I don't know, but she's awesome. Anyway, and the fictional character that kind of helped me realize who I was Adam Torres from Degrassi. And this was before I even realized I was gender fluid. I thought that I was a cis woman. I thought I was a lesbian. I had none of the insight that I have in my head now. And I always just felt this strange kinship with him. I thought maybe it was just because, he was kind of on the outskirts of the social scene in his high school, and I always kind of felt like, despite having not a small group of friends, I always still kind of felt like I was, on the outs or whatever. But every part of his story, I found myself eating it up, and it was he was a really good character, and I really enjoyed him. And it wasn't until I realized that I was trans that I was like, oh, yeah, that's why I was so interested in these stories, because, it was my brain's way of trying to say, hey, who you think you are right now isn't who you are. But that's another story for another time. And then there are people who, since realizing I was trans, have been people that I look up to a lot too. Like, there's Aydian Dowling, who was on Men's Health magazine, and he does so much for the trans community, and he's sweet, and he's super responsive to fans and stuff, like on Twitter, and he's a great dude. And then there's Elliot Fletcher, who's an actor, and he's been in a few shows now. Like, he was in faking it when that was still on TV. He's in The Fosters, he's in Shameless, and every time I find out he's in something new, I pick up the show because I want to give that show my support so that way they know that these characters, that's what we want to see. He's not this tragic stereotype in any of the shows that he's in. He's a regular guy, and that's great. And Ty Turner is somebody that I will be looking up to till the end of time, I think, because he's strong and he's charismatic and he's a good example of what people should try to be. There's other trans guys that I kind of look up to on a lesser extreme, like there's Chase Ross, who is 100% just trying to be his realest self. And there's Ian Alexander, who was in the OA, who's just trying to be his realest self. There's Sam Collins. There's a lot of really good trans guy role models out there. I do feel a little strange because almost all of them are younger than me, and it feels kind of weird to be looking up at somebody who is younger than you, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Age is just a number. The younger kids are kind of paving the way for us old grandpa dudes, you know, because it's making it easier to come out because of the young kids who are like, hey, by the way, we're here too. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's me talking about my trans role models. It's helped a lot in being comfortable with who I am and realizing who I am, and if these people didn't exist, I think my struggle would have been a little bit harder. Not by much, because as I say in almost every single video, the people I surround myself with are so supportive and awesome, and but not having the role models to kind of look up to, I think I would have struggled internally more with my identity than outwardly. So yeah, that's this week's video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!